All right, today we're diving into a fascinating story from Ecuador. It's all about a really innovative way to save one of the world's most critical ecosystems by giving the forests directly to the people who live there. And really, it all boils down to this one simple but kind of radical idea. What if the best way to save a forest is to just give it away? Okay, so let's get into it. To understand why this idea is such a big deal, you first have to understand just how priceless these mangrove ecosystems are and, well, how fast they've been disappearing. Mangrove forests are, and I'm not exaggerating, absolute economic powerhouses. A single hectare, that's about the size of 2.5 football fields, provides an estimated $57,000 in services every single year. We're talking about everything from fish nurseries that prop up local economies to natural barriers that literally protect coasts from storms. So you can imagine, when we lose them, the cost is just staggering. The global economy takes a hit of around $42 billion annually. This isn't just some abstract environmental issue. It's a massive economic one. And this slide, it just lays out the central conflict perfectly. On one side, you've got all this incredible value: food, protection, a massive carbon sink, storing 1,000 tons per hectare. It's huge. And on the other side, relentless threats from stuff like shrimp farming, coastal development, and illegal logging. And this global problem hit Ecuador, and it hit them hard. By the late 1970s, the country had already lost almost 28% of its original mangrove forests. That's a devastating blow for its coastal communities. But sometimes out of a crisis, a truly pioneering solution can emerge. And this is where Ecuador decided to do something completely different: empower the local communities to become the forest's official guardians. They did this with a groundbreaking legal tool called an AUSM. That stands for Sustainable Mangrove Use Agreement. At its core, it's a deal, a legal agreement that gives ancestral and traditional communities the exclusive right to both use and conserve their local mangrove forests. You have to understand, this was a real game changer. Ecuador became the very first country in all of Latin America to legally recognize the right of local communities to manage their own mangroves. This wasn't just another project. It was a fundamental shift in power and rights. So how does this actually work? Well, what's so smart about it is the structure. It's not just a handout. No, it's a 10-year promise. It's a two-way street that's designed to benefit both the people and the ecosystem they live in. Okay, so the deal itself, it's simple, but man, is it powerful. The ancestral communities get exclusive rights to the resources they depend on. The fish, the mollusks, the crabs. In return, they commit to protecting and managing that ecosystem for 10 years. The goal is to perfectly align the health of the environment with the well-being of the community. And the best part is, this isn't some top-down plan forced on people. The whole process is built from the ground up. It starts with the community themselves figuring out the threats and resources. Then they develop their own management plan with their own rules. Only then is an official agreement signed. And from there, it's all about community-led monitoring and renewal. It's their plan, their forest. Okay, so it sounds great on paper, right? But does it actually work in the real world? Well, let's look at the proof, which, you could say, is literally growing in the roots of these forests. The data here is just, wow, it's crystal clear. This chart shows the difference, and it's night and day. In the same time period that unprotected mangrove areas lost 40,000 hectares, the areas managed by communities with these AUSMs actually grew by 12,000 hectares. It's not just stopping the bleeding, it's recovery. The model is working. And that ecological success, it translates directly into human impact. Think about that for a second. Over 50,000 coastal families have more secure livelihoods and futures because of this model. And what happens when you make the community the guardian of the forest? Well, they guard it fiercely. The result? A staggering 70% drop in illegal logging in the areas they're watching over. That is the power of local ownership right there. Now here's something that's just incredible. Who's leading the charge? In so many of these community management committees, the participation rate of women is as high as 85%. They are often right at the forefront of these conservation efforts. And look, this isn't just happening on a spreadsheet. We're talking about tangible success stories all over the country. In San Lorenzo, you have women shell collectors who reforested 150 hectares. In Muisne, artisanal fishermen created their own surveillance system. It's a model that empowers real people to get real results. But let's be real, it's not a perfect system. To get the full picture, we have to acknowledge that there are still some real challenges on the horizon. And this brings up a really critical question about environmental justice. I mean, is it truly fair to hand over this immense responsibility to local communities? Or does it sometimes happen without giving them enough of the resources and support they need to actually succeed? Which leads right into the next big hurdle: sustainability. Can this community-led model really make it in the long run without consistent, reliable support and funding from the government? It's a partnership, and both sides have to hold up their end of the bargain. But here's the bottom line. Ecuador's AUSM model has given us this powerful, proven blueprint. It shows that community guardianship can stop destruction and even bring a vital ecosystem back to life. So it leaves us with one final, and I think really inspiring, question. Where else in the world could we apply this incredible idea?